If you like this content, please consider becoming a patron or a member to get exclusive content.
Riri, I see you. I see you're fed up, waiting to be acknowledged for your greatness.
Good morning, everyone. Is Marvel Studios trying to change? Are they really trying to turn things around to get people back? Or are they just trying to quiet the controversies that have riddled them up to this point? Well, it's a big question that I have in my head, as I don't really think that they're changing as much as they think they are, but they are desperately trying to get back some of their positive PR, and I think that that is why the incredibly mid Thunderbolts movie has been propped up to heaven and back with just reviews calling it a masterpiece and all of that stuff, even though it had an average score of 7 out of 10 from critics. Anyway, Marvel is just really trying to patch up their PR. Why? Because they want to prepare for this Avengers Doomsday movie that's going to come forward through the sky and save them from all of their woes, right? And that brings us to this interesting little development that Marvel Studios has decided that they are no longer going to be doing Disney Plus shows like they were. Are there still going to be Disney Plus Marvel shows? Yes, but they're not going to be directly connected to the main universe with major characters, like you have to watch this show in order to watch this movie. They're going to be untethered. I mean, I think they'll still have references, meaning that they're in the same universe, but they're going to be untethered in terms of the grander story. So, they've made that promise, and there isn't a lot of Marvel Disney Plus shows coming on the horizon, except for this one little show, Riri Williams' Ironheart. Now, if you're surprised at me mentioning this show, then I don't blame you. I wouldn't be surprised at all if you didn't know this show even existed, because it seems that Marvel is really trying to bury this show. This show was shot all the way back in 2022. It was completed. So essentially, they've been sitting on it for like 3 years now. This year, they've done absolutely nothing to promote it. They waited the longest time possible to promote this show relative to its release date, which is going to be the end of June. And then when they finally released a trailer, they released it this morning, on Superman morning. So when everyone in this niche is going to be talking about the Superman trailer, that is when Marvel decided to finally drop the very first Riri Williams Ironheart trailer, so that no one would be talking about it. And I see people online being like, why is their marketing for this show so bad? And it's like, they know exactly what they're doing with this show. They don't want people to see this show. They want to get it out there and get it over with as much as possible. And as a final reveal for just how much Marvel Studios doesn't want people to see this show, needs to get it out, but has to get it out as soon as possible. It's a 6-episode show. Remember, it was made in the ilk of all of those miniseries that they were making one after another during that time. It's only a 6-episode show, and they are only releasing it for 2 weeks. So it's 3 episodes per week. So that is their shortest rollout for any Disney Plus show ever. They want to get this out there and get it over with minimal advertising. But why, pray tell, would they be doing that? It might be somewhat surprising for some of you to know, because I bet you guys don't know who this character is. Well, we comic book fans know exactly why Disney Plus would want to hide this show, as we have been actually eagerly waiting for it to come out, because it is embarrassing that it even got made. Who is Riri Williams Ironheart? Well, let me explain. I've already explained before on this channel the era of Marvel that killed the modern MCU. It was an era that happened, it had been brimming up through the 2010s, but I think 2016 is when it really kicked off, when Marvel started replacing all of its original characters with newer, more diverse characters. And it's not that this isn't the first time that they've tried to use a mantle swap or a spin-off character to try to promote more diversity, but this time it was different. They had a lot of new writers who were activists, who didn't have any experience, who came up with some pretty weird ideas with these new characters, and pretty embarrassing comics. Comics that really kicked off the era that would just kill the industry because of how many people that they lost during this era of activism in comics. This was the era of characters like Miss Marvel, Captain America, Sam Wilson, America Chavez, and many, many other characters created to replace the main heroes with younger, more diverse characters. And once again, since a lot of these comics were written by either inexperienced activists or writers who had lost their touch, like Brian Michael Bendis, who we'll talk about, these were just the most wholly embarrassing comics ever written. But of all these characters, no one was more notorious than Riri Williams Ironheart. Now, during this time, if you criticized any of these characters, then you would get called racist and sexist and all kinds of those things, even though these were just terrible comics. But when it came to Riri Williams, while there was a lot of that too, a lot of the people who felt that they needed to defend these new characters for the idea of promoting diversity, Riri was a very difficult character to defend, let's just say that. The most notorious one of these brand new characters pushed into comics at the time with the intention that they would eventually be brought into the MCU. So what made Riri Williams such a bad character? Well, I need to tell you, this was more than just an Iron Man spin-off character. For a very good amount of time in comics, Riri actually replaced the main Tony Stark Iron Man. He was killed off and he was little more than a hologram who she would converse with. Riri was the main Iron Man in the universe, aka Ironheart. But what made Riri Williams such a bad character? Well, she's a 15-year-old genius, but the problem with Riri is she was a straight up sociopathic narcissist. So basically what defines the character of Riri Williams is she is the smartest girl in the world. She is just so insanely smart, and she knows she is. And she wants to be recognized for her greatness. The origin story of this character is when she was a little girl, she was smart. Everyone knew she was smart. Everyone praised her. But she knew that it's only the girls who are put down and told they can't do it who really succeed in life. So in her origin story, she tells her teacher, who is praiseworthy to her and tells her that she does a great job of everything, to tell her she will never be as good as Tony Stark. She bullies her teacher into telling her that she will never be as good as Tony Stark so she can technically have someone putting her down, even though everyone's telling her how great she is, so that she can become the greatest. So her teacher relents, and that gives her the motivation that, oh, somebody put me down so that now I can become the greatest. This is the character of Riri Williams. I had to go back and remind myself of a lot that she went through, but also apparently at one point in the comics, Riri took over a sovereign nation somehow. Riri was basically just this psychopath put in this gear under the guise that she is this empowering teenage girl. But all of her qualities, though, were like narcissism and being a sociopath and doing very questionable things, very morally questionable things, yet still being propped up as this amazing character. Riri was the most embarrassing character that they created during this time, and really the only time that she got any attention was through videos ridiculing her, which is why it's kind of funny. Bless Ryan Coogler, he has a great career right now, but to hear him propping up Riri Williams,
when Ironheart came out, I remember the buzz around the industry. I was really excited.
I'm like, this character was kind of a dud. Like, I've talked about how Miss Marvel as a character, she had some people who liked her in the beginning. She wasn't working. They would just continuously reboot the character in more series. Riri Ironheart couldn't do that. After they ousted her out for being Iron Man because that was not working, they gave her a mini-series that also flopped. And since then, I haven't heard of Riri Williams since. I mean, maybe she still appears in comics, but the point is, after being pushed front and center as the new Iron Man, essentially, I haven't seen her appear in any major events. She hasn't had any series since then. This is a character that even the comics seem to have buried. That's how unsuccessful Riri Williams is. And that's a big statement because this is the modern age of comics where they do not get rid of things that are unsuccessful. They relentlessly push them as much as they can, but they couldn't push Riri. And that is why I was cringing when they said Riri Williams is going to appear in Wakanda Forever. Now, Wakanda Forever, she wasn't in it all that much, and she wasn't as insufferable as the comic book counterpart. She was just very forgettable, but there was a moment of her killing a bunch of cops and cheering about it.
Ain't no worry, I got a special delivery for y'all in 3, 2, 1.
which is just a little window to who the character is from comics. But all this time, though, they've had this TV series in the works, and I've been just cringing imagining what it will be. And if you say you can't criticize this show without having seen it, well, apparently Disney and Marvel are already corroborating with fears that this is going to be awful because of how much they've hidden the show. Now, think about it here. We have a show that is not only based on one of the narcissistic, most sociopathic, worst characters from comics who was a complete dud, who only brought on ridicule for herself, but it was made in 2022. It was made during the same era of getting shows like Falcon and Winter Soldier, She-Hulk, and all the like. Just the worst TV content I have ever seen from a mainstream studio in the Disney Plus shows. But remember, not only were these shows really bad, but there was a moral ineptitude to the Disney Plus shows. Sorry, I'm spitting everywhere. A moral ineptitude. Like, WandaVision ends saying they'll never know what you sacrificed for them after Wanda tortured a town full of people. Moon Knight, a show all about mental health, ends with Oscar Isaac saying that actually it was good that I had a split personality. I willingly want to have that split personality. I love my other half. Falcon and Winter Soldier said that terrorists who kill innocent people shouldn't be called terrorists. It wanted you to sympathize with a white ginger-haired girl who said that the death of an innocent black man did not matter to her. These were just morally inept series, and so you can combine that, the horrible production quality of Disney Plus shows, along with the moral ineptitude of the people working on these shows, with who Riri Williams was already in the comics, and you can only imagine what the show is gonna be like. Now we come to the trailers, and I have to say, Disney and Marvel have always had people behind the scenes with their Disney Plus shows that at least make the trailers look okay. But we are already seeing evidence that we are getting the exact Riri in the show as she was in the comics, where the trailer opens up with her having to fight her way out of an elevator because the villain, or presumably the villain who will be a villain at some point or another, heard how great she was, and now he has confirmed in his head how great she was. The big conflict we hear for Riri in the show is that she is waiting for people to acknowledge her greatness.
Riri, I see you. I see you're fed up, waiting to be acknowledged for your greatness.
Now, this is exactly what we hear from the character from the comics, is that her entire mindset is that she knows she's iconic and amazing, and she wants other people to acknowledge her for that. That is her big struggle, is that people just won't worship her the way that they want her, that she wants them to. We also are seeing some illegal activity going along in the show. You know, it keeps saying that she needs to do things like get money in order to make her projects, and we see more of that in the leaked Comic-Con trailer, that Riri is going to get into some illegal activities in order to achieve what she wants. Now, when you have a character doing things that are wrong, then that opens up the door for conflict and growth. However, what we've seen in the past with the moral ineptitude of the Disney Plus shows and this character is it might not go that way. So we already see all the signs of the character from the comics, that she is a narcissist, she's high on herself, and she thinks of herself as a god who needs to be worshipped by everyone else, but they just aren't doing that. And isn't that a big conflict? And we're already seeing her doing some questionable activities to get what she wants, like she does in the comics, like she takes over a sovereign nation at one point. So this is just a magic mix, a remnant of a bygone era of the awful Disney Plus shows. So understandably, Disney wants to lower as much fanfare over this project as they can. They don't want you to see it. I don't know why they don't just merely shelve these projects. They really should. All they do is increase the bad PR, but that is at the very least why they don't want people talking about this show, and they don't want people watching it. They will get it out as soon as possible. But I have to apologize, Disney, because you made your bed and you kind of are lying in it when it comes to this show. You should never have made a Riri Williams Ironheart show in the first place. You should have learned your lessons from who this character was from the comics. But you didn't. You introduced her into the MCU, which was always her plan, and now you'd have an entire 6-episode show that you still have to get out there. But for me, I'm excited. Regardless of how many people watch or not, it is going to be exciting to me to see just how bad this show is. This remnant from the past of just the worst era that Marvel has ever had and the worst character possible. And the fact that they went forward and made this. And to see Riri Williams, this narcissistic sociopath who takes over sovereign nations in all her glory and all her self-righteous glory of just acknowledge me for my greatness on this show. It's going to be a fun end of June watching, and I intend, if Disney sees no value in this show, well, I intend to fully monetize and capitalize on it. At least something good can come out from it. After that, I'm going to be kind of relieved that this era of Disney Plus shows coming out is over, and the damage was done. But for now, let's just enjoy this last ride, shall we? Thank you all for watching. Did you have anything about Ironheart that you wanted to add to this video? Let me know in the comments below. If you want to support this channel, you can consider becoming a patron or a member. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys next time.